The realm. Do you know what the realm is? It's the 1,000 blades of Aegon's enemies. A story we agree to tell each other over and over till we forget that it's a lie.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back for another Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon video. In this video, I want to go over what will happen at the beginning of House of the Dragon's second season. All of us recently saw what happened in the Season 1 finale when Rhaenyra's son, Jacaerys Velaryon, died right outside of Storm's End. In one of the greatest scenes from this first season, Aemond One-Eye's dragon Vhagar devoured Jacaerys and his dragon Arax above Shipbreaker Bay. This shocking revelation left Rhaenyra devastated, and this event essentially begins the Dance of the Dragons. Now that blood has finally been shed, no one is safe. And as we all know, Rhaenyra's other son Jace is still out there with his dragon. Although Luke was the one who died, it was Jace who was thought to have gone on the more dangerous mission. Not only is his flight much further, but he also has to stop at many different houses along the way. So in this video, I want to go over what happens when Jace arrives at these houses in the Vale, White Harbor, and then Winterfell. George R.R. Martin has already confirmed we will see House Stark in the second season of House of the Dragon, so let's see what he has written in his novel Fire and Blood. This will be exactly what we will see at the beginning of the following season in either the first or second episode. It says, Jacaerys Velaryon descended upon the Eyrie on his young dragon Vermax to win the Vale of Arryn for his mother. The Maiden of the Vale, Lady Jane Arryn, was 35, making her several decades older than Jace. Never married, Lady Jane had reigned over the Vale since the death of her father and elder brothers at the hands of the Stonecrows of the Hills when she was 3. Now, according to Mushroom, this famous maiden was actually a highborn harlot with a ferocious appetite for men, and he gives us a salacious tale of how she offered Jacaerys the allegiance of the Vale if only he could bring her to climax with his mouth. Now, Septinus Stace says this isn't accurate because he believes Lady Jane Arryn actually likes women rather than men. When Jace arrives in the High Hall of the Eyrie, Lady Jane reveals how her own family had tried to replace her on 3 different occasions. She said, "My own cousin Sir Arnold says that women are too soft to rule. I have him in one of my sky cells, if you would like to ask him. In this world of men, we women must band together, and your mother remains our rightful queen. The Vale and its knights shall stand with her, only if her grace will grant me one thing." When Jacaerys asked what that might be, she answered dragons. "I have no fear of armies. Many and more have broken themselves against my bloody gate, but you have descended on us from the sky, as Visenya once did during Aegon's conquest. There was nothing I could do to stop you. I mislike that feeling. Send me dragon riders." And so Jacaerys Velaryon agreed, and Lady Jane knelt before him, and bade her warriors to kneel, and all swore their swords. Then on Jacaerys' sword, north across the fingers and the waters of the Bight. He lighted briefly at Sisterton, where Lord Burrell and Lord Sunderland also swore allegiance to his mother. Then he flew on to White Harbor, where Lord Desmond Manderly met with him in his merman's court. Here is where Jacaerys Velaryon faced a much shrewder bargainer. "White Harbor is not unsympathetic to your mother's fight," Manderly declared. "My own forebears were despoiled of their birthright when our enemies drove us into exile on these cold northern shores. When the old king visited us long ago, he spoke of the wrong that had been done to us and swore to make things right. In honor of that, his grace offered the hand of his daughter Visera to my great-grandsire, that our houses might be made as one. But the girl died, and it was forgotten." Jace knew what this meant. Before he left White Harbor, an agreement was drawn up and signed. Lord Manderly's youngest daughter would be wed to Jace's little brother Joffrey once the war was over. Finally, Vermax lifted into the sky and flew Jacaerys off to Winterfell to meet with its formidable young lord Cregan Stark. He would later become known as the Old Man of the North, but the Lord of Winterfell was but 1 in 20 when Jacaerys came to him that year. Lord Cregan Stark had come into his lordship at the age of 13 after his father, Lord Rickon Stark, died, roughly 8 years before this meeting. Now, during his minority, his uncle Bernard had ruled the North as regent. But when Cregan became 16 years of age, he found his uncle Bernard to be slow to surrender the North. He was not so ready to hand over the reins to his nephew. Their relationship grew strained, as the young lord became angry under the limits his father's brother set on him. Finally, a few years later, Cregan Stark rose up and threw Bernard and his 3 sons in cells, then claimed the North for himself. Soon after, he wed Lady Era Nori, a beloved companion since childhood, only to have her die a few years later while giving birth to their son and heir, who Cregan named Rickon after his own father. Autumn was well advanced when Jace arrived in Winterfell. The snows lay deep on the ground. A cold wind was howling from the north, as always, and Lord Stark was in the midst of getting everything ready for the winter, yet he still gave Jace a warm welcome. The snow and the ice and the cold weather made Vermax uneasy, it is said, so Jace did not linger long amongst the Northmen, but many different stories did come out of that short journey. Grand Maester Munkin says that Cregan and Jace took a liking to each other, for the boy reminded the Lord of Winterfell of his own younger brother, who had died a decade earlier. They drank and hunted with each other, and even swore an oath of brotherhood sealed in blood. Now this seems more credible than Septimus version, wherein Jacaerys spends most of his visit attempting to get Lord Cregan to give up his false gods and accept worship of the Seven. However, we must look to Mushroom to find what other accounts omit. His account introduces a young maiden, or a wolf girl as he dubs her, with the name of Sarah Snow. So smitten was Jacaerys with this creature, a bastard daughter of the late Lord Rickon Stark, that he lay with her of a night. On learning that his guest had claimed the maidenhood of his bastard sister, Lord Cregan became most wroth, and only softened when Sarah Snow revealed that Jace would make her his wife. They had spoken their vows in Winterfell's own Godswood before a werewood, and only then had she given herself to him, wrapped in furs amidst the snows as the old gods looked on. This makes for a great story to be sure, but as with many of Mushroom's fables, it seems more of a fool's fevered imaginings than of historical fact. Jace had already been set to wed his cousin Baela since he was 4, and from all we know of his character, it seems most unlikely that he would break such a solemn agreement to shield the uncertain virtue of some half-wild, unwashed northern bastard. If indeed there ever lived a Sarah Snow, and if indeed Jacaerys did dally with her, that is no more than what others have done before, and will do on the morrow. But the talk of marriage is ridiculous. Mushroom also says that Jace's dragon Vermax left dragon eggs at Winterfell, which is also thought to be absurd. While it is a fact that determining the sex of a living dragon is difficult, no other source mentions Vermax laying so much as a single egg, so it must be assumed that he was a male dragon. This we do know. Cregan Stark and Jacaerys Velaryon reached an understanding, and they signed and sealed an agreement that Grand Maester Munkin calls the Pact of Ice and Fire. Like many others before it, it was sealed with a marriage. Lord Cregan's son Rickon was a year old. Jace was as yet unmarried and childless, but it was assumed that he would sire children of his own once his mother set the Iron Throne. Under this new agreement, Jace's firstborn daughter would be sent north at the age of 7 to be fostered at Winterfell until she was old enough to marry Lord Cregan's heir. When Jacaerys Velaryon took his dragon back into the cold autumn sky, he did so with the knowledge that he had won over 3 major lords and all of their bannermen for his mother. Though his 15th name day was still half a year away, Jacaerys had shown himself to be a man, and a worthy heir to the Iron Throne. Had his brother's shorter and safer flight had gone as well, much bloodshed and grief might have well been avoided. However, we all know what happened when Lucerys and Aemon left Storm's End. Now all of you know what we should see happen at the beginning of House of the Dragon's 2nd season. One of these scenarios should unfold when Jacaerys arrives in Winterfell when we finally see House Stark again. It will be very interesting to see what option they go with. Will they have Jace lay with this Sarah Snow, or will we find out she never existed at all? I also really want to see if they will have Vermax lay dragon eggs at Winterfell. This is something many fans have been debating for years. Let me know what all of you think down below. Now, I do want to say I'm sorry I haven't been uploading many videos lately. Unfortunately, I did run into some real life issues, but things have finally started to settle on the home front. Moving forward, my upload schedule should go back to normal. I still have a lot more videos heading your way. As always, I want to thank all of you for showing some love and holding me down. I hope all of you have a great day. I will see you again very soon. Bye.